Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Talking About the Bible. Today we're going to be talking about, when Judah, Judah is kind of like all over the place. They're not in the same country. They're led outside of their country. And we'll basically be giving a summary of, because we already know Israel's a mess, Judah's a mess, and it's all just starting to break apart, and the country's not even remotely the same as it was before. And this is a result of the kings turning away from God. And, as it's been a theme that we've been talking about in the last videos, the Bible shows us that when a nation turns away from God, the blessings and the gifts are turned away as well, and the nation just becomes this just starts to split apart, and it's just not the same country. So, first and foremost, we're going to continue from where we left off in the last video. We were talking about King Hosea of Israel, of Judah, and how he rebuilt the house of the Lord, and he brought back faithfulness in God and the king in Judah. But we remember, we talked about how he got cocky, and he when in Carchemish, when Pharaoh Necho was going to invade the country of Egypt. Pharaoh Necho of Egypt was going to invade the country, and then Babylon comes over and they're going to invade the country, and they're fighting over it, And then Judah Hosea decides, all right, well, we're going to go up against, we're going to invade this country as well. We're going to get involved, and it obviously doesn't turn out well. Judah loses. Hosea dies, and when he gets back to the country, he dies, but he gets hit with an arrow, and they leave. He dies inside of Jerusalem, and they have to put in a new king. So Jehoahaz, Hosea's son, becomes king of Judah, and he only reigns for 3 months, and I'm going to tell you why. So as we remember, Pharaoh Necho comes up. You remember the fight in Carchemish, right? So after that's all over. Pharaoh Necho comes up against Judah, and he wins, and he deposes Jehoahaz, who just became king of Judah after Hosea, his son. Jehoahaz becomes king of Judah, and 3 months later, Necho takes him to Egypt and deposes him, and he takes up all the country's wealth, all their silver, all their gold. He goes in, it's like a big sweep. It's like, it's like a nice little, like a poker game, and you just got all the chips, and you're getting those chips on over here. That's what he did. So we got all those chips out. And he puts Eliakim, who Necho named, he changed his name to Joachim, but he put Eliakim as the king of Judah, which I think he was the brother of Jehoahaz, and he doesn't last long either, unfortunately. But instead of Pharaoh Necho coming up against him, actually the king of Babylon, because you're projecting weakness, you're getting taken over, as other people are going to be like, I'm going to go in there too. So Babylon comes up against Judah, and they depose Eliakim. Literally, I don't know how long he's in there. He's probably in there for maybe a year, but he's deposed by Babylon. And Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, puts in his I don't know if it's his brother or his son, but he puts in Jehoiachin. And he doesn't reign long either. He's deposed. But when Eliakim was deposed, Babylon went in the house of the Lord, and they took out everything. So everything that Hosea had reestablished, they were taking out. They're taking out all the gold, all the everything. So basically, all that work during Hosea was swept clean. All that work during Hezekiah was swept clean again, because when you turn away from God, the blessings from God, and we turn away from you. I mean, it's pretty simple. But basically, Jehoiachin doesn't really last long. I think he lasts a year. I'm not good with my numbers. I know, I'm just messing. But, he's deposed as well. And his brother Zedekiah becomes king of Judah. And he actually reigns quite a bit. He reigns about 11 years. Is he prosperous? No, because, he's subservient. Because, listen, Judah became a satellite of Babylon pretty much at that point. I mean, before it was people were deciding who's their king, and now it's some other country far away is deciding. Because, they projected weakness on the world stage when Hosea went and invaded Carchemish, they lost. Necho comes in, they depose his son. That projects weakness on the world stage at that time, and so Babylon's like, well, we can do whatever the heck we want because these people are weak. So that's what they do, and like I was saying, those kings were turning away from God and they weren't doing the right thing. So yeah, there goes the blessings too. So here comes Babylon. They're coming in. People are weak. They sweep in, and now Judah's become a satellite nation of Babylon, and so Zedekiah, and this is a lesson you're going to want to learn in life, is that, don't put yourself higher, like, don't make yourself something that out to be. Here, let me say it like this. Let's say you're boasting, right? Let's say you're boasting like, oh, I've got a ton of power, I've got a ton of might, and you really don't. You know what I'm saying? And you make the actions like you do, but you really don't have that power or might. And when you get into a situation where you actually have to use that power, and I'm talking about military, it doesn't end well. So that's basically what's happening to Zedekiah, because God sent a prophet, Jeremiah. We're going to actually give in much greater detail of what each individual king. I'm just giving a summary as to what's going on with Israel and Judah and the state that it's in at that point in time. But basically God sent a prophet, Jeremiah, and basically he was there to tell, because here's what the problem is. Zedekiah, he turns against Babylon and starts a rebellion, and now Babylon's alright, we're coming up against Jerusalem, we're besieging the city. Because Zedekiah decides he's going to rebel against them. And he thinks that, oh, I've got the might, I've got the ability to do it. And he really doesn't. He doesn't. And so God sends a prophet, Jeremiah, and he tells him, you do not have the ability to do this. Surrender to the Babylonians, or else this city is going down. And if you don't surrender, the people are, you and your people are going down. So obviously there's a remnant in Israel that did listen, but the majority of the people did not listen, and this is what happened. So Babylon, or Nebuchadnezzar, comes up against Jerusalem, and they besiege the city. And, and I'm just saying, Zedekiah would not listen to Jeremiah, who's, persecuting him. You can read about it. We're going to talk about it in more detail in the future, but he was basically persecuting the prophet. We're not doing that. And in the end, it turns out really horribly wrong for him, because Jerusalem is besieged, and this time they're destroying everything. They're destroying the walls. They're destroying the house of the Lord. They're just destroying this clean slate. They're destroying palaces and all that. So, Jerusalem at the end of that is just plain field again. So that's basically what happened to Zedekiah. He's not going to be king anymore if they go and raid Jerusalem. But you can imagine, now you can see how Israel is just a remnant of itself. Before, if you look back at when Israel was reigned under David and Solomon, you see how things were going so well, and the other kings before him, and these newer kings come in toward the end and they just ruin the whole country. They come in, they're not even faithful to God, and they ruin the country. They turn everybody astray to false gods, and they get invaded, and everything is gone. Because like I said, that's the theme of these videos, is that when you turn away from God, the blessings are taken away. And that is in the terms of a country. And that's happened time and time again with Israel and Judah. And actually both used to be one nation, but they split up because it's just crazy. This is the stuff that happens when you don't follow God. This is the stuff that happens. So basically, Israel's a shell of its former self. It's more of a remnant nation now. It's not like the powerhouse it used to be. Jerusalem's gone. All the palaces and all the stuff they built have been destroyed, and they're just a satellite country. And eventually Israel does rebuild and come back, and we're going to talk about it in the future videos. But basically, I think for about 70 years, Israel was basically a satellite of Babylon at that point. But anyway, it just goes to show a lesson. If you don't have the ability to, if you don't have the might and power to do something, don't go and shell out all these threats to people and rebel, because it's not going to end well. Not to say that it's not good to fight to the bitter end, but I'm just saying in that case you don't want to, But again, he should have listened. Zedekiah should have listened to Jeremiah. But yeah, nobody's listening anymore to the prophets at that point. But anyway, thank you for watching this video. We're gonna talk about it in greater detail in the future videos. But I just want to ask that, when I'm talking, some people are probably going to be like, well, this doesn't really make too much sense. Because I'm summarizing events. You have to just read it, because a lot of people are watching videos and it's better to just read the Bible itself from beginning to end, okay? I mean, there's some parts that you're probably going to be like a little bit bored, but you're going to realize, well, if you didn't have those parts that are in great detail, then how would you know, all this stuff that was going on back in the day? But I'm just saying, just read the Bible, from beginning to end. Just read from the start to the end, and that's the only way you'll understand. You can't just have somebody, you could just have somebody tell you, and you believe, but I'm just letting you know, if you really want to 100% understand what I'm talking about, what everybody else is talking about, just read the Bible. That's all I can say, just read. The examples, basically the Bible just gives you examples of what happens, when you turn to God, and what happens when you turn away, okay? Because, to be honest, let's face it, in this present world we're in this modern day, there's nothing wrong with modern age, okay? But in this time, this modern age, the problem is that people are turning away from God for some reason, and even though they have everything, they have tons of stuff that people back in the day didn't have, all the comforts and the, technology, and it's easier to live than it used to be, and people they're taking it for granted. I'm just letting you know, everything could be taken away, okay? And you have to understand that, if we continue to go down the path that we're going as a world with faithlessness, because back in the day, a lot of people used to be faithful in the United States, but not just in the United States, around the world. And things have been declining lately, and that's probably why we're seeing all these, social issues going on and crime and everything, because it's stemming from the fact that people don't go to church, the fact that people don't believe in God anymore, and they're just going by their own, what they feel is their own morals and their own. And I'm not judging anybody. If you think I'm not a perfect guy. I've done some bad stuff. Does that mean I don't have faith in God? No. But, you got to turn away from that bad stuff. You got to turn to God. I'm not perfect, okay? If anyone's thinking that I'm some kind of, boy genius here, I'm not. And that's what I'm saying. Anybody can turn to God. Anybody can have faith in God and turn away from their sins and the bad stuff they did, and reap the blessings of faithfulness in God. And I just want you're only going to understand what I'm saying is if you read, if you just read. I can't tell you how important it is, because we're going to a more atheist world, not just in the United States. I'm saying all around the world. It's becoming a more agnostic, atheist society, and it's not going to be good. All right, I'm just letting you know. Anyway, thank you for watching this video. Please read the Bible, please. Anyway, thank you for watching this video, and goodbye.